This week, huge global issues at stake whose solutions are blocked at the pinnacles of power. But we discovered the power of people trying to break the deadlock. I'm Christiane Amanpour, and welcome to our program. It's been a very interesting week, and we're talking to individuals who are trying to succeed where politicians are failing, from the Middle East peace process to the fight against terrorism. Take, for instance, the Islamic cleric Sheikh Mohammed Tahir al-Qadri. He told us about his extraordinary new fatwa against suicide bombing and militant violence. And in the Middle East, US Vice President Joe Biden tried to push the parties into indirect talks, but got stuck in the sands of the Israeli-Arab conflict. But we spoke with Israel's most prominent author and a Palestinian lawyer who are trying to get the process unstuck by building on a terrible tragedy. And we hear more about reconciliation and recognizing the basic good in all of us from someone who knows, and that is South Africa's Archbishop Desmond Tutu. He talks about the new book he's written with his daughter.
After God creates, God says, it is not just good. He says, it's very good. And God rubs God's hands and says, ha ha.
And later this hour,
Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree?
that's singer and activist Annie Lennox. And she tells us how South Africa spurred her into the battle against AIDS. But we begin with the Muslim scholar who issued that fatwa against terrorism, Sheikh Mohammed Tahir al-Qadri.
And thank you very much, too.
And next, we talk to Israel's most prominent author and to a Palestinian lawyer. Both together, they are trying to break the mold.
And I think any Arab who read this book will find it more difficult to hate the Jews than before reading this book.
Join the global conversation every day.
Failure is not an option. But let me go to the core point.
The question is, do we have a choice not to?
It's not impossible to do this.
Download the Amanpour podcast at cnn.com/Amanpour. We often find that people are ahead of their politicians, particularly in places like the Middle East, where histories, even among enemies, are inextricably linked. That's up next.
Monday on Amanpour.
We talk to the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, 16 years after the genocide. We ask whether all the wounds have healed.
Amanpour, Monday, only on CNN.
Now we have more of our conversation with Amos Oz and Elias Khoury and their effort to give peace a chance by humanizing people on the other side. And this, even as US efforts to push along the peace process falters. Take a listen. As you know, the US Vice President has been in Israel talking about trying to restart the peace process, and he has been delivered something of a rebuff when the Israeli Interior Minister announced 1,600 new domiciles in East Jerusalem. Mr. Oz, as you talk about the generosity of trying to know each other's side, what message do you think that sends, this more settlements at a time like this?
Thank you for having us, Christian.
And please join a conversation that we have brewing on this very topic on our new Google Buzz site, on whether personal stories can advance peace in the Middle East. Join the discussion at amanpour.com/buzz. And next, is it really possible for good to emerge from evil? Nobel Peace Prize winner Archbishop Desmond Tutu thinks so, and we will talk to him. And one of the world's best-known vocalists, Annie Lennox. Welcome back. Coming up in this half hour, singer and activist Annie Lennox tells us about her campaign against AIDS and her concerts to raise awareness, particularly in South Africa. But first, when it comes to changing people's minds in South Africa, there's no better example than Nobel Peace Prize winner Archbishop Desmond Tutu. He was a leading voice in the anti-apartheid struggle, and now he wants to convince the world that people are inherently good. Archbishop Tutu came to our studio with his daughter, Reverend Mpo Tutu, to discuss their fascinating new book. Thank you both so much for joining us. And next, we look at South Africa from the perspective of singer Annie Lennox, who's fighting to stop the explosion of AIDS there.
Don't hide your light behind your fear.
We mostly know the singer Annie Lennox as one of the world's top-selling vocalists. And after our interview with Annie Lennox, the team on this program put their questions to her, including what's her favorite Annie Lennox song? And to see her answer, visit amanpour.com. Next, our postscript. And we look at individuals who fight for change despite oppression, this time here in the United States. That's when we come back. And now our PS, and we return to the theme of how ordinary people can overcome and bring change. And you can catch a podcast of this program on amanpour.com/podcast. For all of us here, goodbye from New York.